Hey, what's going on, Ramley? Welcome to the Ram Skinny here on the LAFB network. We are Los Angeles Sports. This is your daily dose of Los Angeles Rams news. Sorry you're stuck with just me today. Skinny T is off. He's got family in town, much deserved off time. Unfortunately, it comes on roster cut day, so a lot of news to get to. So I was trying to keep up on the website with all of our Rams coverage and trackers and all those, but I had to get on here quickly and talk with you about the Rams' final 53-man roster. If you can tell, I'm battling a cold. It was rough last night and this morning. Feeling a little better, but we'll see. Hopefully, if I can make it through this. I just recorded a USC video right before this one, so I'll be at the tail end of what my vocal cords can take. So I apologize, but bear with me. But I had to get on here because the roster's set. The season's around the corner, and we are ready to rock and roll with our Rams as we head into 2025. The big surprise cut. We'll just start there. Or maybe I'll just go position group by position group. Some of it won't even need to talk about at all, but quickly. So, quarterbacks, Stafford, Jimmy G, Stetson Bennett. No shock. The way Stetson Bennett played in training camp, you couldn't cut him because he was not going to make it through waivers. Some other team would have snatched him up. I still don't believe he's the future of the team, but I certainly believe he can be the future backup of the team. I think he showed enough in training camp to do that. And so you had to keep three at this point, especially with Matthew Stafford's back and what potentially could happen at any point throughout the season. Running backs, only kept three here. This is what we both predicted, actually, on our prediction show just last Friday or Thursday. Kyren Williams, Blake Corum, and Jarquez Hunter. I know there's a lot of thought. Obviously, Ronnie Rivers has been the incumbent, and Cody Schrader had a nice camp and obviously a special teams guy. But I think when you look at some of the depth at the other positions, trying to keep four running backs just would have really hamstrung you and had to make some tough cuts. Not that Rivers or Schrader weren't tough cuts, but those guys literally are not going to play other than special teams, whereas some of the other positions, your fourth guy might get some PT during the season. And barring, knock on wood, crazy injuries, none of those other running backs are going to play out of these three. It's going to be the Williams and Corum show, and Jarquez Hunter is going to be your burner here and there when they get him in. So I'm not surprised. How do you guys think? Comment below if you think they should have kept a fourth running back. Wide receivers. I thought some out there thinking they'd keep seven. Again, Skinny and I both thought they'd just keep six here for the exact things I just said. I think when you look at some of the positions, specifically on defense, specifically on the offensive line, you need that extra roster spot. And a seventh receiver, all they're going to give you is special teams. You're never going to play your seventh receiver barring disaster in your wide receiver room due to injuries. So there's really no purpose to having a seventh receiver unless they are like an elite level special teamer return man, which if they're that good, they probably could be utilized in the receiving game as well, which is what Xavier Smith is as wide receiver 6. So Puka Nacua, Davante Adams, Tutu Atwell, no surprise there. Jordan Whittington, Kanata Mumfield, who's had a nice training camp as a rookie, and Xavier Smith, who's really broken out since being back with the Rams this camp. Tight ends, they had to keep 4. A lot of people thought they'd keep 3. Based on Terrence Ferguson being injured, they really had no choice but to keep 4. Tyler Higbee, Colby Parkinson are your 2 starters. Don't care what anyone says. Those are your 2 guys. 12 personnel, it's going to be those 2 guys. Tyler Higbee is your true tight end 1. Colby Parkinson is your true inline blocking tight end who gives you some flex as a receiver. Now, last year he was asked to do too much of that because of Higbee's injured. But if Higbee stays healthy, this year he can be the true inline blocker that he was brought in to be. Those are your 2 guys, no questions. Davis Allen has shown growth, gives you some depth that honestly, if had Ferguson not gotten injured, had looked good all during camp, had been able to keep up the speed as a rookie, learning the system, learning the playbook, Allen probably would be out. But because of his injury, Ferguson that is, got to keep 4 until Ferguson is truly, fully up to speed because I don't think he's game ready yet. All right, offensive line, there's 10 right now. As of now, Alaric Jackson, not on the injured list. He is set to practice, I think this week, if I'm not mistaken, and actually have contact. Which is until he has contact, I'm not confident he's going to play week 1. You're not going to throw a left tackle that has yet to have contact, that's recovering from blood clots, start the opener. So if he can have contact, the blood looks good, there's no issues there, then good to go. Obviously, everything else, he's healthy, so it'll just be how his body reacts to having contact. So, as of now, no IR for Jackson. If they did, it'd be obviously designated to return. He'd miss 4 games. But as of now, no. So, Jackson, Steve Avila, Coleman Shelton, Kevin Dotson, Rob Havenstein, no surprise. Those are your starting 5. Your 5 backups, probably in this left to right. DJ Humphries at left. David Quessenberry has tackle flexibility, but probably slates in more as a guard. Bo Limmer, your center. Justin Dedich, who I love, talk about all the time. I knew he was a lock. You heard it for your first. He was for sure a lock. Center and guard flexibility. And Warren McClendon Jr. has gotten a lot of praise from this Rams staff as his development has progressed this offseason. So he was a guy that was not going anywhere. They really love his development and how he's come to be, which made a guy like A.J. Akiri expendable, which I think was a little bit of a surprising cut at first just because he's been with the team now for a few years. But you're keeping 10 guys, so you can't keep more than 10. 10 is already a massive number for one position group. Defensive line. Excuse me, they keep 7. Another big number here. Puna Ford, obviously. Kobe Turner, Braden Fiske, obviously. Tyler Davis had a fantastic camp. Looked good in preseason, so that's kind of a no-brainer. Laurel Murchison, maybe a little surprised, but I think this more comes down to experience, being more of a veteran. They kind of kept him in this room versus maybe some of the younger guys that ended up getting cut. So I see that as like, here's a guy that's been with the team now a couple seasons, has been in the league a couple seasons, and gives us that veteran presence, but also maybe has some flexibility, but has just kind of been there, done that when they have a very, very young room. I mean, think about how young this room might be, like the best defensive line room in football, but it also is the youngest, like by far. By far. I mean, they got, 2 guys that are going into year 3, 2 guys that are going into year 2 as their starting 4. It's pretty remarkable. So, that I think makes sense there. Just Juan Johnson and Ty Hamilton. Both guys I think had a great camp, great preseason. Love seeing Desjuan Johnson, really his maturation and his growth. I think he's really come a long way and showed out some of those preseason games. I think you saw it on the field. A guy that's really improved some. So, I don't think any stunners there either. So, keeping 7, big room. Outside linebackers, again, I wouldn't say any stunners. Obviously, not everyone could make it. Brennan Jackson was the odd man out, 2024 draft pick. So only year 2 on his rookie deal. But Jared Verse, Byron Young, those are obvious locks. Josiah Stewart, he was just drafted this year in the 3rd round, so a little higher draft stock than Brennan Jackson, a little fresher as a rookie, still now 4 years on his contract. And I think Nick Hampton just beat out. It was going to really come down to Nick Hampton and Brennan Jackson. And really, the way me and I think Skinny saw it is you could flip a coin. I mean, I didn't really see one that was night and day above the other. There may be some different fits. Maybe what each does on special teams probably went into this decision-making. But, it's kind of who do you like more from a certain standpoint, I guess you will. So I think they'll definitely want to get Brennan Jackson back on the practice squad if he does clear waivers. Inside linebackers. All right, here is where everyone's mind, I think, melted. So last night, Monday night, it started surfacing around the old X, the old Twitter sphere, that Chris Pooh Paul Jr. was not going to make the roster. Sources on sources on sources on sources. Everyone out there was saying Chris Paul Jr. is going to be cut. The 5th round pick, from this year's draft out of Ole Miss. Now, this was a tough position group. Skinny and I talked about it. Like, do you really keep 4? You're not keeping 5. You can't do that. Can't keep 5. You'd feel better probably about keeping 3. But it seemed like they loved some of the guys in this room that 4 was the number. Nate Landman, Omar Spates are your starters. Unquestioned. Sean Dolak, the UDFA out of Buffalo, turned heads. Fantastic camp. You loved him. That was going to be tough. So it felt like it came down to Dolak, Paul, and Troy Reeder. For the fan base, this was easy. Troy Reeder was the odd man out. He's been here, done that. He's not an absolutely terrible linebacker, but he's certainly not a real good one. No disrespect. He's kind of floated around, but he knows the defense. The teammates love him, and for whatever reason, the organization absolutely loves this guy. He's like uncuttable. They love this guy. So they vie for Reeder over their 5th-round pick on a rookie deal, Chris Paul. Now, McVay said something in his press conference about the guys they picked were based on versatility and different flex positions they could use them in and whatnot. Maybe they didn't see Paul Jr. as having any special teams versatility. I think it's very clear that Dolak was like a shoo-in. He did enough. They fell in love with him. His leadership qualities, all that. I think they fell in love with him. Why he chose to come with the Rams as a UDFA. With Paul Jr., it's interesting because, he was that leadership guy too. I mean, he was a leader on that Ole Miss defense. We did an exclusive interview with him. You can find it on LFBnetwork.com, and he talked, that was like his number one thing, coming in and being a leader right off the bat, doing whatever he had to do to help the Rams. Leadership, leadership, leadership. And the other thing, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, someone will, I'm sure, because obviously Chris Paul is a rookie, he will have to go through waivers. Now, we'll see. If no one picks him up and the Rams can get him back in the practice squad, then no harm, no foul. Then this is all like a long diatribe for no reason. But to my knowledge, Troy Reeder, because he is a veteran, doesn't go on waivers. So the Rams seemingly could have waived him and then put him on the practice squad with no other team being able to sign him. I'm pretty sure that's how that works. So unless it was a respect and mental saying, no, you've been in this league long enough, we don't want to do that to you to put you on the practice squad just to move you back and forth. Or, and this is the hope, obviously, is they truly see him as a better player. And again, we were at training camp. We saw some flashes from guys, but you don't see everything. It's basically non-contact, the training camps we can see. They call it thud. It's barely even that. So, I mean, it's really hard to evaluate true linebacker position. But for whatever reason, this team loves Reeder. Chris Paul Jr.'s the odd man out. Your guys' thoughts, because that's been the one everyone's been freaking out about. Again, if he ends up clearing waivers and on the Rams practice squad, then kind of, we'll forget about this in a week because then it won't matter. Cornerbacks, 5 here. I don't think this is a big surprise. Akilla Witherspoon, Darius Williams, Kobe Durant, Emmanuel Forbes, and Josh Wallace. Those back-end DBs, Josh Wallace, Cam Lampkin, some of those other guys, was kind of like, I think they all flashed and showed some good things. Who do you like the most? Josh Wallace is who the Rams pick, and I think he was a good choice there. Safeties, they keep 4. Cam Curl, Cam Kinchins, obviously your 2 starters. Quentin Lake, your kind of do-it-all nickel guy. And then Jalen McCullough, who was the standout last year with, 4 picks? So that group seemed solidified basically before camp even started. That seemed like, from the safeties, I consider Quentin Lake kind of a Derwin James type do-it-all guy. But from a true safety, there were going to be 4 guys. It was going to be these 4. And then obviously Ethan Hunter's your punter, Alex Ward your long snapper, and Joshua Carty your kicker. So, there you have it. Any other notable cuts you guys were surprised about? Like I said, I think it was fairly chalk minus the Poole Paul one. My guy, Jamil Muhammad, former USC Trojan, not a surprise. That edge room was deep, robust. He was a UDFA, but he's a guy that would certainly be back on practice squad if he clears waivers. Had that nice strip sack in the last preseason game. Has great leadership qualities. All the stuff that the Rams look for in the type of player that they want. So that's a guy that kind of look for being back on the practice squad. But anyway, my voice is about to give out. I just want to get on here quick, give my thoughts on the roster. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Please comment below. Skinny T and I will be back probably a day or 2. Give him some time with his family, and then we'll be back because we are 1 week from the season kicking off. It's a beautiful thing. We've made it. It's been a long off season, and we are here now, finally. So thank you all for hanging out with us. If you want to help support LAFB, would mean the world to us. Head over to LAFBnetwork.com. Go to subscribe in the menu. You can choose a different option you want. Part of your subscription will be donated every month to help youth sports initiatives right here in Los Angeles. We're actually going to be partnering with some youth sports charities that the Rams and Rams players work with. So once that finalizes, I'll start putting those out so you know exactly what you're donating to, and it's actually affiliated with your Los Angeles Rams. So helps us out. You subscribe, you're going to obviously get all of our content. We'll get some exclusive content and exclusive events that we're going to launch here soon. Plus, 20% is going to go to a good cause and helping youth sports right here in LA. I'm Ryan Doward. Thank you, as always, for hanging out with me. Skinny T, like I said, we'll be back in a couple days, and we'll be back with plenty more Rams talk.